Grab a frosty cold beverage and join us in the shade for another edition of CinemaTalk, the official podcast of RuleThirds.com. Today we're talking about something that irritates us almost as much as this unbelievable heat we are both experiencing. Franchise fatigue.
I don't know. I'm not good at the heat. Like, I'm from Montana, so I can't handle anything above 75 maybe.
Jeez.
True. Very true, actually.
Weak. Anyway,
whatever.
With that in
you
mind...
couldn't handle anything below, -10. I walked to class without a winter jacket and just, a regular old jacket in -17. So you don't tell me about weak. I will break you.
Anyway, my name is Max.
My name is Sean, and I spiraled this intro out of control.
You know, Sean... The movie theater is known for many things, and that includes its incredibly air-conditioned lobbies. I say we go over there and cool down a bit before getting this episode started. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Let's go!
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Man, even with these incredibly air-conditioned movie theaters all across the country... You still can't escape the heat, man. It's just awful.
It is.
Yeah. But that won't get our spirits down, especially on this edition of Cinema Talk. Welcome again, the official podcast for RuleThirds.com. This week we're a bit of a lull right now. At least I am. It's hot outside, but we still have content up on the site. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Well. It's not a terribly hot day, despite our intro. I'm afraid I misled you, dear viewer. Today isn't terrible for me up here, but I assume it's pretty bad for you down there, Max, in Cali.
Down there. Yes, so Montana. Yeah. So yes, down here it's hot. It's not like it's not like Palm Springs where it's 90 degrees at midnight, but it's something to write home about. But thankfully, through the power of air conditioning and technology, I can stay cool and not have my computer be set on fire by all the heat.
Hoorah.
Yeah, that thing is hot enough already. Anyway, so it's been kind of it hasn't been so much a quiet week in terms of content, but more so a quiet week in terms of, I think, us, I guess.
Yes.
I was actually away for the past week.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a brilliant, wonderful, and incredible summer camp that I work at, ucamps.org. Check it out. Great place. And but you probably didn't notice that because we got content going up at a steady pace.
Yes, we recorded Cinema Talk early. I was doing recommendation domination anyway, so your absence was kind of not noted. What does that say about your talents on the site there, Max?
Yeah, it's...
I don't know.
Oh, please.
Anyway.
I've been with the show, I haven't taken huge breaks off the show like you and Larry have. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, I went to Europe early on in CinemaTalk's run, and now Larry's just vanished for mysterious legal reasons.
He's on a quest.
No, he vanished, and he hasn't even told us, by the way. People watching, we don't know what he's doing.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's okay to say. Larry did not tell us. He did not want to tell us, and we respected that.
No,
but
we didn't.
We were so confused.
We tried so much, Max. Don't lie to the viewer. We tried to figure out what he would not tell us.
You did. I was just like, okay, man. Well, you're making it. I told him. Every detail he mentioned made it more and more okay, I kind of want to know. But
yeah.
Anyway, getting aside from that.
Right. So you were gone for a week. What happened on the site while you were gone?
Really just two pieces of content. Last week's Cinema Talk, which was
very good.
pretty freaking good.
Yeah, probably my favorite that was just pretty much a straight discussion. Movie Deaths is still my favorite that was pretty organized. But this is probably definitely it's definitely my favorite that's just a free-flowing discussion. And I think it feels very real, I guess, because it was, we'd never talked about it. So go check that out for sure.
It's scattered, but it's contained, and I like that a whole lot.
Yes. And also... I made a nice little video. If you want.
Yeah, on Saturday he put Sean, you put up a recommendation domination on Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Yes.
Yeah. It was interesting. This is the first ever recommendation domination that uses a franchise twice.
Yeah.
I've always kind of thought it's kind of like the unwritten rule. If I did a recommendation domination on 22 Jump Street, I wouldn't I guess I wouldn't say 21 Jump Street as a recommendation, or I wouldn't say that I wouldn't recommend a movie that came out and then recommend its sequel as the future release.
Yeah, well, I did it because I am a part of your system. I'm a loose cannon.
I mean, if you're loose, I mean,
I am. I'm a loose cannon. When you put me on RD, you never know what's going to happen. It's crazy stuff.
yeah, I know you're a loose cannon. That's why you break so often.
Anyway, we should probably get to the topic.
Yeah, the topic at hand is it's interesting because we are in blockbuster season. We're kind of in the we're in a bit more of the I don't know, like not like May and June are the big months, like the big months, and Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen is kind of like the send off of the big
Age of Extinction.
Did I say Revenge of the Fallen?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know why I keep thinking of that. I'm not even being snarky like every other film critic ever about Transformers. I really don't know why I keep mentioning it. I mean, Age of Extinction seemed to like really cap off that, like, I guess that's not the end of blockbuster season, but it certainly is the end of this run of a bunch of movies.
Sure.
Right now we got stuff like
I think Guardians
Boyhood,
Guardians is probably gonna be the ending for me of the summer blockbusters.
And TMNT is gonna be the end of it for me. But we got like stuff like Boyhood and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's a movie that came out.
Well, anyway, the point being, wow, we are really rambly today.
Yeah, the point being, we are in the franchise age, and as a result, there are a lot of sequels, remakes, adaptations, reboots, and stuff. And sometimes this can lead to something that snarky film buffs call franchise fatigue.
Right, and basically that's just the idea that people get sick of movies. Like, I don't want to see another Transformers. Like, I have no interest. I've seen 3 of them already. And that's just one example. That's the most recent that kind of sparked this topic to be discussed today is Transformers. A lot of people said they weren't going to see it because, they had already seen 3. And that's franchise fatigue. Just the basic idea of you've seen so many, you don't want to see another. And that can hurt a lot of series.
For not actually any, like, good reason. It just, it just hurts them.
Sure, I definitely think... And also, it's funny how people are like, oh, I've seen 3 Transformers. Like, how much is that? Like 8.5 hours across
over
the span
over the course
of
what?
2007 was the first Transformers.
Yeah, over the course of 4
years.
years we had 3 Transformers movies, and now over the course of 7 years we've had 4.
It's like,
okay, so let me jump in. Let me say my big point.
Okay, yeah.
You don't the whole franchise fatigue thing doesn't actually matter in the long run. Like, it's not like oh my god, I don't want them to make any more Transformers movies. That shouldn't excuse you writing it off if it actually happens. If you don't want a sequel to happen, that's fine, but you shouldn't just dismiss it if it actually does happen, and especially if you're a film critic. Like, if you review movies, you got to give every movie a chance. And franchise fatigue is just a way of saying, "Oh, I'm not going to actually try just because I'm just a little brat that can't really understand how business works."
Wow, harsh. Okay. Well, I would like to argue on the side of I kind of get it sometimes. Twist. I kind of get the franchise fatigue.
I mean, I get why it exists, but I don't think anybody should use it as a legitimate point.
Well, right. It's not like Age of Extinction, bad because there's been 4 movies.
That is not an actual criticism. That is just it's bad because, and then say it's just a fact of the movies, and not actually having to do with quality.
So I'm going to kind of drop a little bit of a shocking turn of events. For me, franchise fatigue... which I define as just, there's been a lot of the movies, so it's not quite as exciting anymore, has been starting to set in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What? No,
okay.
No way. I don't believe that.
Now, what I mean is this: there are some good ideas of where it can go, and that's kind of exciting. And of course, I'm really excited for Age of Ultron. I don't know why, but Age of Ultron specifically, I'm just really excited for, more than Avengers 3, which is weird. But when I think Phase 4, or what comes after Avengers 3, I get a little, and when I saw an article where, I think Goyer said that they've got DC Comics movies planned up through 2025, whatever.
No, that was Marvel though. It was Marvel that
well, it was them too. I kept thinking,
oh, okay. Jesus, all those guys do plan, all those guys just do planning. Why don't you go out and make them movies already?
Well, Goyer writes them, sadly.
Yeah.
Burn. Anyway, so for me, I understand franchise fatigue because for me, it's when I keep thinking, I have, we're done with Phase 2, I have all Phase 3, and then they're just going to keep going. And, I don't know if I can stay excited. It's tiring to be this excited. Whenever I see any little bit about Age of Ultron, I'm like, yeah! And I get really excited about it. And so thinking, every time Marvel's going to release a movie, I'm going to get fired up like this, I'm not. That's franchise fatigue taking its toll. I really don't think I'll be that excited for Thor 3. I just don't. Or even Cap 3, and I really like The Winter Soldier. But
I'll be stoked for Cap 3.
I know you will. It's just, and it's almost inevitable. However, especially because I'm doing Rule 3rd stuff, I'm still going to see the films, and I'm still going to critique them without that mindset. This is purely, for me, franchise fatigue is a purely emotional thing, where it's
it's completely doesn't have any actual critical or analytical foundation. It's just emotional, I don't know, emotionally charged.
And and this could be a good thing. It's kind of what I also wanted to talk about in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If I go to Thor 3 and okay, well, it's the next review, I sit down I'm not really excited. We'll see what they do. And because I have no expectations, what if it's really good and it just kind of blows me away because I wasn't super psyched? It can be a positive thing to not be super excited about a movie before going in. However, I was really excited for Iron Man 3. I was just unbelievably excited. I'm going to be counting down the days to Age of Ultron. And it's sad to think, I don't know how much longer I can keep that up. I don't know if there are any other Marvel movies I'm going to be counting down to, or something like that. So for me, that's franchise fatigue. I'm just I'm done being super excited. Unless they do something to really change my mind. If the first Cap 3 trailer just whoa, I can't believe that story looks super interesting, something like that, then sure, I'll get excited again. But before I was hey, Iron Man 3. What? Oh, I'm so excited. I didn't even know any details. They just said the words Iron Man 3 and I was excited. I don't think that's going to happen in the future. So that's my one example of where it is actually starting to affect me. Max, what's your counter? Because you don't seem to agree with what I'm saying.
I've just never really understood the idea that I should get tired. If franchise fatigue to me is getting tired of something that only happens once every 2 or 3 years.
Right, but with Marvel, it's 2 a year since 2008.
But so for me, the movies are spread out enough so that I don't get
I don't know.
It's just the only name that carries them all is the Marvel name.
Right.
If it was just Avengers 2, Avengers 3, Avengers 4, then maybe. But in this case, we have multiple different franchises that are being they're being, they're just all under the same name, and maybe it's more maybe you just have more studio fatigue.
No, it's a franchise because it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because X-Men, I didn't feel that way. I was really excited for Days of Future Past, and rightfully so, I ended up loving it. So, it's not that. And I'm excited for Apocalypse. I would say I'm way more excited for X-Men Apocalypse than I am for Thor 3 or Captain 3. Next Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, they're all coming out, or at least Cap 3 and X-Men are coming out the same year and the same time. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, summer blockbuster. So, that's, I guess, okay, I say, why do you have franchise fatigue of these movies, but I do see it as a problem. I don't know where I'm going with this. I just wanted to bring up that it happens. It's happening to me. It's just, as much as I like the Marvel films, and they're, big deal, so it's good to bring them up, 2 a year is a lot. Especially, Thor ended in what? When did Thor come out? I want to say October. November. Man, and then when did Captain 2 come out?
April. You should know.
Yeah, that's 5 months.
Yeah.
And Thor wasn't
even
out
of
we
were talking about different series.
No, we're not. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is one thing. Don't act like Thor is its own franchise, and Captain is its own franchise. It's all the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, if the Avengers didn't exist, then yes, I could see your argument. But no, the Avengers exist. That tied them together. They're one thing. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is one series. So that's one franchise. I count that as franchise fatigue. I'm not sick of Captain. I'm not sick of Thor. I'm sick of... Well, not sick of either. I'm just less excited about it as a whole. It's not specific.
So if they just stopped and they just started doing Avengers 3, Avengers 4 is coming out in 3 years, and they just halt all the other movies. Would you be more excited for Avengers then?
No, I would want... How do I put this? They either need to really... Like, I think Phase 2 was better than Phase 1, for the most part. Like, I think they upped the game, and that's great, and I enjoyed all the films. Like, a lot of people hated Iron Man 3. I loved Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
I liked Thor 2. Like, it doesn't matter about quality, right? I want to make that clear. It doesn't matter how good the previous movies are. There comes a point where it's kind of hard to get excited again. And maybe it's because they are good. Because I saw, Captain 2, and I'm like, what are they going to do that's so exciting? So maybe people saw Transformers 1 and we're done with that. Like, what else are they going to do? Or especially Transformers 3. Like, they went all out with Transformers 3. Yeah. So maybe that's something that comes with franchise fatigue. It's just, okay, there's this giant invasion of an entire city. You have hundreds of robots flying around. You've got this skyscraper falling. You have End of World. The planet is being teleported. Where do you go from that? The answer is, of course, dinosaur robots. But, like, that's a legitimate point. Like, what is there worth being excited about? Right, like, I mean, even you might see it. Like, of course I'm going to see every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. I enjoy them. I'm a nerd. I'm going to see them. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be, super excited necessarily. Like, I'm not that excited for Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I'm excited for it, but I'm not...
I'm bummed.
I know, you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though that's a brand new, kind of like series of films, hopefully... Well, they're hoping that they'll be able to do more Guardians films. Even though that's a new thing, it's the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, it's Marvel, it's just kind of like, I don't know, I'm just not as excited. Is that wrong? Like, and it's not really their fault, I'm not blaming them, like, how dare you make these movies that millions of people like and gets you billions of dollars? How dare you monsters? I'm not gonna be yelling at them for it, but I don't know how to fix it,
Again, franchise fatigue is purely an emotional thing.
Right.
See, the problem for me comes in when people are actually starting to use it as legitimate criticism. Because it doesn't, like, that's not, like, okay, in that same, like, they're all connected and stuff, if Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost kept making Cornetto movies, that being movies that, like, thematically similar to World's End, Shaun the Dead, and Hot Fuzz, and, like, they just kept doing it, like, every 3 years, would people get franchise fatigue over that? Because those are certainly connected.
Probably. Yeah. Like, as someone who saw them all in a pretty short amount of time, like, I wasn't... Well, I don't know. Like, I can definitely see that being a problem. Even, maybe not for you. You're a diehard Edgar Wright fan. Yeah, so maybe you're not... It would never affect you, which is good, obviously. You get to continue enjoying the films you enjoy. But I think for a lot of people like me, who I liked all three, but I wasn't in love with any of them. For me, yeah, like if they just kept doing, hey, it's Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, let me guess, there's some sort of supernatural element, like unordinary element. Those two are going to be friends, they're going to have their differences, but their friendship prevails. They're going to fight against an entire town in the climax. There's going to be a lot of just kind of basic, like, visual humor that, while well done, can get a little predictable. Like, eventually you can get into a pattern. So maybe that's kind of the problem with franchise fatigue. It's like, what to... Oh, yeah, that could be part of it. It's not only what can they do to outdo the previous one, like, what reason should I be excited? It's just like, I know what's going to happen. Like, why would I be excited? I know what's going to happen. Captain's going to find Buki, is what I call him, Bucky, and he's going to do this and this. Like, I know. So maybe if it's even not story-based, like you were talking about Cornetto trilogy, if they kept making them, it's a Cornetto 20 trilogy, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that could start just get predictable in its execution, its style. And I do think you could count that as a franchise, those three films. Like, franchise for me doesn't have to be a legal...
Like, they are largely known as the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy.
Right.
And, like, that's confirmed by Edgar Wright himself. Like, they're all down for that, too. Like, I sometimes think it has to do with timing. Like, I mean, for me, like, I keep thinking of other movies that I think could suffer from franchise fatigue after a while, like, Star Wars. Star Wars is happening again, and it's going to go into...
See, that's a good point. I am unbelievable... Okay, that's not true. I am going to be unbelievably excited for Episode 7. as soon as it starts getting closer. Right now, I'm just really excited. I'm not dying to see it, because it's a ways off. I'm containing myself. But yeah, I get that. If we get to Star Wars Episode 15, I'm like, I mean, I like Star Wars, but...
No, so, and I'm mainly talking about the fact that there are going to be a lot of spin-off films.
Right, that's another thing.
How excited are you going to get for Star Wars movies in general if it's just coming out every year?
You know, maybe Star Wars shouldn't be a franchise. Maybe it should be just blocks of films. Like, I like the prequels. Okay, I don't like Phantom Menace, but I like the other two, and I'm glad that story was told, no matter how bad the execution can be at spots. So I'll always stand up for the prequels. And maybe that's the way Star Wars is supposed to be, in kind of these blocks. So maybe... So, you know, now that you bring it up, I really don't care about the spin-offs. At all. I'm excited for 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care about the other two.
We're going to go see them. I want to be very clear. We're going, like...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're going to go see them and review them. It has Star Wars on it.
Again, I'm a nerd. It has Star Wars on it. I'm going to go see it opening day. And with the trailer, again, it might prove itself, which I assume it will. You know, they're not going to just throw random crap at us. I assume the trailers or whatever will make me more excited for it, but... Yeah, like, I maybe it shouldn't be a franchise. Maybe it should just be, here's a trilogy, wait a long time, here's a trilogy, wait a long time, here's a trilogy. And so maybe they are in danger of franchise fatigue. Like, I can definitely see that happening. That's a good point. Like, as much as I love the 5 of the 6 Star Wars films, and as excited as I am for 7, you're right. I think if we do keep going and going annual releases, I will start to get a little tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Now, let's talk about annual releases for one quick second.
Sure, and then I have
one
a
franchise
point,
I want to bring up
that
seems to be, I don't know, like, protected from franchise fatigue under a certain excuse. And you really like this franchise, Sean.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Give me a second. We could be talking Pirates. We could be talking Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Really? I mean, there's only 5.
Think about it this way. I mean, yeah, there have been 5 movies, and yes, these are trilogies. These are certainly trilogies, but they came out one year after another, and somehow nobody seems to get franchise fatigue from that.
Yeah,
because there was a purpose behind it.
Here's what I'm thinking. You've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy? No, because you're the worst. I just remembered. You have not seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring has an okay ending point, like, you know, suspense-wise, but there's definitely a lot to come. There's a lot set up, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen next? The Two Towers ends on a pretty big, almost cliffhanger. So maybe that's why there's no franchise fatigue, because Lord of the Rings was written as one book initially, and the publisher said, you're crazy, no one's going to read all this at once, and so they made him break it up into 3 books, which became 3 films. It is one story, pretty much.
Did the one book ever come out?
No.
Oh, with all 3 books?
Tolkien wrote it as one story, and then the publisher, before publishing it, said, no, you got to break it up.
But, like, even after it became a huge success, like, it never was, like...
No, they always just kept it Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and
that would have been cool just to see how big it would have been.
Well, I mean,
book
I
must
have a
have
box...
been thick.
Well, yeah, I have a box set of Lord of the Rings on the bookshelf I'm staring at right now. It's pretty thick, because it's just all 3 books back to back. Just put the 3 books on a bookshelf, and you're happy. So what I'm saying is, Lord of the Rings might not be a great example, because it's one story, but with, like, Transformers, the 3rd kind of ended everything. Megatron is slain, spoilers. Like, it kind of ended it. And so when people thought, oh, we're going to do another round, it kind of hit them wrong. Because those are very self-contained movies.
Is that what happened with the Hobbit movies? Like,
maybe.
With Lord of the Rings, like, yeah, we did Lord of the Rings. We changed the course of, like, Lord of the Rings basically ushered in the franchise age alongside, along with Harry Potter and the Spider-Man movies. Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter was a pretty big deal, too.
What?
Harry Potter probably helped, too.
Yeah. And see, personally, I mean, and this is a very biased perspective, I personally never got franchise fatigue from Harry Potter because I knew I knew how this was going to end. Like, I knew that this was, like, yeah.
While those are also self-contained books and films, it does share the same quality of what's going to happen next. Whereas Transformers, you have to start anew. But you know that Voldemort's still out there. You know that so-and-so is dead. I don't want to spoil, but you know what I'm talking about. Book 6. Come on. So maybe you didn't get franchise fatigue. Like I didn't, and if looking at box office numbers, no one got franchise fatigue for Harry Potter.
Yeah, in fact, Deathly Hallows Part 2 is like the highest grossing
it made over $1 billion
of all time. Like,
it made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's one of, like, the now 16 films that have in all of history. So, that's a good point. If you have a feeling like the story should continue, then it's harder to get franchise fatigue. But when it's stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, a lot of people don't like On Stranger Tides, and I think a lot of it is franchise fatigue. Like, people just dismiss it and they're tired of it, because each film is self-contained. Now, 2 and 3 are really heavily linked to each other. Like, 2 leads to 3, like, really quickly, so 2 isn't as self-contained. But 1 is really self-contained, and 3 is definitely a good ending, and 4 is self-contained. So, yeah, maybe... Yeah, that's a good idea. That might be a solution.
Hey, okay, here's a thought.
Okay, then I need to get to my big point, which you're not going to like, but whatever.
Well, we seem to keep bringing up franchises that have 3 movies, and then a little while later, they get a 4th movie.
Well,
Is that
yeah.
like the...
Yeah, that's the
I
joke
see this
I make
happening
on
with Harry
RD.
Potter with the brand new Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Huh.
Which I'm really excited for, just because, like, you know, it's clearly, like, you know, it's in the same universe, which is a very, like... Harry Potter series has a lot of lore.
Yes.
So you can totally, like, do that. But I wonder if franchise fatigue will affect it just because it's, you know, oh man, more Harry Potter universe stuff.
I think it's been long enough, and it's different characters that
Yeah.
we should
Newt
be
Scamander.
okay.
Newt Salamander.
I don't think we're going to get franchise fatigue. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, not at least then. I mean, we're going to be having that book. It doesn't even have a story. It's getting its own trilogy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, what was your main point?
Well, no, not main point, but just something I wanted to work to. You were talking about, you know, Harry Potter. You always like.
I mean,
You
because I
always-
was a kid and I wanted to see more
right.
Harry
You never
Potter.
got franchise fatigue. It's something
Yeah.
you like, and then I
Ever.
was talking about franchise fatigue of something I like. You know, I do have it with something I like. So it's kind of like, it doesn't matter if you like it, sometimes you can't get tired. I want to bring up an example, which you might be sick of me talking about it, but I kind of got a weird feeling of franchise fatigue, only in TV form. In a recent interview, the showrunners of Game of Thrones said that they have no intention of ending the series after the 5th and 6th seasons, which is currently what they're renewed for. Now, for a second, I thought, oh, that means they're doing Season 7, which everyone suspects because there are 7 books. It makes sense. And they've been doing 1 book a season. But then I thought, what if they're just going to keep going? And the idea of them just keep going and going with this series, it made me sad and irritated.
All great stories must come to an end.
Right. So, what if franchise fatigue, you can also be something you like? Like, Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, I love it. It's my favorite TV show of all time. It has to end after 7. Please, end it after 7. I beg of you.
I mean, and there's a lot of skepticism revolving around the TV show in my neck of the woods, Breaking Bad's Better Call Saul, which is, you know,
Right.
like another installment in the Badverse. Now,
Which I don't think will be very successful. Like, people are going to watch it, but I don't know if Breaking Bad has, like... I don't know, like, that could be,
wait,
yeah,
but what,
franchise fatigue.
what doesn't, I mean, let's be real, what doesn't Breaking Bad have at this point, Sean? It has everything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, name
It's-
actors, a huge fan base.
See, also, like, it kind of hits me wrong. Like, I like the idea of it, because I love that character. I'm not through with Breaking Bad. I only finished Season 3, so I got 4 and 5 to go.
Oh my god, it gets better every season, Sean. But you
Season
should
3 was
put aside
pretty
a lot of time,
dull.
though, because,
Anyway.
man, it's a lot of
Season
stuff.
3 was dull until the end, whatever. What was I going with that? Right. Because I love the character Saul. Like, I like the idea for this show, but at the same time, I was thinking, I'm not really that interested. Like, there are some fans that are dying for more, I get that. And, you know, TV is a good place to look at franchise fatigue. Like, ratings drop if a show just keeps going. And, like, Simpsons, ratings aren't very good. Quality's dropped according to most people. I mean, obviously the ratings are good enough that it's still on. The Simpsons is
Yeah.
still a popular show, but I mean, it's not at the height that it was before. And a lot of people are just kind of sick of it. And so I think TV, it can also affect TV. It's just this, you know, you
And
keep
you know
getting
what?
it.
If we're going by mediums here, it can totally affect video games.
Sure. Yeah,
I
a
mean,
lot
listen,
of people...
people been calling franchise fatigue on Mario for years, but I mean,
Like me.
personally, I've never gotten really tired of Mario. I mean, games
Yeah,
are usually really well designed. So
I
I'm
haven't
like, yeah,
either,
cool.
really, but I don't play them like that frequently, so I'm amazed that people that do haven't gotten tired of it. But yeah, video games, like, everyone's like, oh, Call of Duty 4 is like the best, and then everything else, like, everyone calls the rest crap for some
Yeah.
reason. Like, as soon as 4 came out, then they decided the rest was garbage. which it could be franchise fatigue, or it could just be the cool thing to hate, which could be a good topic on its own. Like, it's cool to hate Twilight, it's cool to hate this, and we can argue about that, but that's a different topic. But, yeah, I do think, like, franchise fatigue in general can apply to everything, which leads to a kind of final point, like, where this discussion is going.
Yeah, what does it mean? Like, what does even having franchise fatigue actually
I think it
lead
means
to?
you're done with an idea.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, robots transform into cars, guys. You've done everything with this idea. I'm not going to get excited because, I don't know, you've done it all.
But at
and
the
maybe
same
that's
time,
true, maybe
okay,
that's not.
That's a good
but
point.
that could be someone's mindset. It's
Yeah.
all about the idea of it. So it's like, you know, something like Mario. It's like, okay, you got platforms, different suits. I'm sorry, guys. What are you doing new? You know, and that's not me necessarily. I'm just like that. It might be just in general. It's the idea. So people want new ideas. Everyone freaked out about Watch Dogs because it was this brand new IP, this new idea. I guarantee that even if each game improves upon the original,
even if each game gets like Game of the Year nominees and everything, people are still going to be
people
franchise fatigue.
in a few years are going to say the Watch Dogs series is awful. And that's with movies too. Like, you can bring up a movie and they say, "Oh, that was amazing," and then everything that comes after they dislike.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, here's the thing though: if you're done with an idea, that doesn't mean the idea should stop. That just means you should stop paying attention to it.
No, not
Go
even that.
try other ideas.
That's just your conception. So for me, like, if I say I don't want another Mario game, people at Nintendo are not going to listen to me. They're the ones with the ideas. They're going to come up with this great idea, like 3D World or 3D Land. I'm going to play it and say, well, I'm glad you made that Mario game. So if you told me they're going to make a fourth Transformers right after 3, I might say, I don't see where they could go with it. But then I see Transformers 4, I love it because it's ridiculous and amazing, and I'm saying I'm glad they did. So, just because you have franchise fatigue doesn't mean others...
They should stop.
Right, others can't have ideas. You might think the idea is done.
Don't be selfish, nerds.
That's actually a really good, just like, note in general. Don't be selfish, nerds.
Yeah. You know, I do wonder, like, franchise fatigue exists. Does, like, director fatigue exist? Like,
sure.
Will there be a day when people
yes.
are like, okay, Christopher Nolan, okay.
Well,
we got
just
it.
an example
or
right
Edgar
now.
Wright, okay, dude.
Do you have any idea how many people are just completely sick of Tim Burton? Like, there is a Tim Burton hate club out there. A big one.
Yeah.
Like, director fatigue can definitely happen, and that's usually...
Actor fatigue? Like, will there be a day when people are, like, done with RDJ?
No, because he is Jesus. I will burn those people for heresy.
You're missing the point.
No, I'm purposely dodging the point for the sake of humor. Now, let me address it seriously. Maybe, like, you know, there are a lot of big names that went away, and we might see a lot of big names go away in the near future. Like,
Will
there's
Leonardo
such a thing.
DiCaprio, will his magic fade away?
Maybe. I don't know. He's talented enough. I think he can stick around.
But then, like, I see, like, actors like Nicolas Cage who have become so famous for the fact that they should, like, that he should inspire actor fatigue, but people still love him in, like, every movie he's in because he's, you know, because he's Nick Cage.
Man, I love how this is expanded. It's not just franchise fatigue. It's just, like, things being the same. When do people get sick of it? When are they okay? This is good.
It's, I mean, you know, actor, like fatigue in any sort of art, it really does summarize down to, like, let's see, like, Sean, how do you act when you have a headache? How do you act? Do you act pleasant?
No, not at all.
Do you kind of are you empathetic? Are you
No.
Do you care about other people's feelings? Well, I mean, maybe that's sort of what this is. Like, you stop really caring about, you know, the quality of the project itself. You're just so, like, torn up in the fact that you've already experienced such, like, things again, and you're so done with them that on a personal level, you don't even, like, want to associate, like, the future with them. Now, personally, I don't have franchise fatigue all that much. I'm not like, oh man, guys, okay, I'm done here. Like, if a thing is good, probably going to follow it. It's how I am. But, I mean, that's not the same for everybody. And if you, dear listener, are fatigued by a certain film, then, I mean, or a video game, or an actor, or a book, or anything, really, I mean, it's okay, just drop it. You can say, oh yeah, and then I just kind of got fatigued and just left the franchise.
Sure.
There you go.
That can happen. You know, like, you can just drop off.
Yeah.
You can
get
give up.
fatigued out of anything.
And I don't think that's unfair as long as you give it a fair shot in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're done with Pirates of the Caribbean after 3, fine. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch 4 just because you think you're done, or you should see it and try to find everything wrong and hate it purposely because you think you're done. You can be pleasantly surprised.
Nobody is forcing you to experience art. It just is. It's just
that.
in the franchise age. It's just kind of expected of you.
Right.
But you don't have to. We're not gonna like be disappointed if you don't. You just maybe left out of like a conversation at work or something.
Yeah. So. Right. I guess that would be the thing. It's okay to have franchise fatigue, but make sure it's not ruining something that you could like. Like even if you think you're done. Like maybe I see Captain 3 and I'm just reinvigorated with Marvel, and that even slight franchise fatigue completely vanishes from it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's
We'll have to
entirely
see.
possible.
But at the same time, I am still facing the Game of Thrones problem where I love every single episode, yet I still hate the idea of it going on and on. But part of that, I think, also is just it has to have an ending because it's so intense. Like, I gotta have some closure. Ugh. Which is fair, honestly. Like, that could also be a franchise fatigue. Like, Transformers 3, if you think that's the end and you have your closure with Transformers, you're done, fine.
Yeah,
that's a fair form
like,
of
cool,
franchise
fine.
fatigue. Like, that can factor in, sure. But, yeah, this was a good discussion. Started slow, but I think we got to some good points.
Yeah.
And I got to talk a lot about Game of Thrones, so...
You know what? This franchises and whatnot, all this talk. I'm gonna go watch Star Wars after this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch. Machete Order.
Of course,
Machete?
yeah.
Oh,
Well, we should share that with the viewer. Yeah,
Machete Order is this new, cool kind of order for watching Star Wars movies. I was introduced to it by Derek Knappenbauer, also known as Declarations on YouTube. Go check him out.
I'm glad you know how to pronounce his name as well.
Yeah, and
because I worked for his brother, so I had to know how to pronounce it. But.
Yeah, he basically explained to me that or he explained in this video that you should watch episodes 4, 2, 3.
No.
No, episodes 4, 5, 2, 3, and 6.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, because if you watch, the story, and there's a lot of there's apparently George Lucas implemented a lot of parallel storytelling in between with episode 3 and episode 5, or episode episode
It's
3 and
and
episode
6.
6.
Yeah, 3 and 6.
So it makes and it's very powerful. And now 2 and 3 aren't just like their own story; they're just kind of like a flashback. And all the information of episode 1, all the information that's important for the rest of the saga, is in episode 2, so you can skip episode 1 entirely. And the reason I bring that up in terms of franchise fatigue is that I'm actually it's weird. I usually am okay, I'm done with Star Wars. I don't need to watch the movies again. I am reinvigorated to go watch Star Wars movies because of this.
Me too. I want to try that order sometime, even though I've seen them a bunch of I've seen those.
I've actually never watched Attack of the Clones.
What?
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith was the first Star Wars movie I ever watched. Saw it in the theater with my dad.
How have you not seen it? You need to see Attack of the Clones. It has one of the best scenes ever in it.
Really? I've heard it's awful.
It's not awful. It's okay, but I love it.
Yeah.
Jango Fett is the best, okay? Jango Fett says a lot.
Do you actually
Boba Fett.
hear his name? Can you...
What?
Because Boba Fett's name is not in... Boba Fett's name is actually not actually given in any of the original trilogy.
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
When?
Episode 5, he says a bounty hunter called Boba Fett.
Oh.
Something like that. Oh, no, that's episode 2, a bounty hunter called Jango Fett. But they do say his name. I know they say Boba Fett's name.
Okay. Yeah,
so that's a good way to end this podcast.
I mean, right now, personally, I'm not fatigued by Star Wars, and I'm actually going to go experience that stuff and actually watch a Star Wars movie for the first time, which is, you don't get that a lot often.
We need to talk about Attack of the Clones when you're done.
All right, yeah, we'll do that. But as for you, dear viewer, dear listener, dear whatever you want to call yourself, I don't care. Thank you for joining us for this, kind of rapid fire installment of Cinema Talk. This is the second episode in a row where we just kind of divulge into a multitude of topics over one idea. Just basically, this is just media fatigue. Is that a good way to put it? Media fatigue.
And speaking of which, if you're sick of this podcast,
you let us know because we won't do anything about it.
We'll just reply with a frowny face. That's it. So,
but this was a good episode. Just again, a reminder what's on the site this week. The new recommendation Domination from Sean, and then this Saturday we're going to be having a video review of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Man, it is a long title. Maybe this should be our topic next week. Long movie titles.
Long movie titles. And neither of us have seen the movie at this point while recording,
yeah.
so that's interesting.
Usually I haven't. Usually Sean sees the movie real quick after the movie comes out, and I see it a few days later. But no, at the time of this recording, we haven't seen it. So, it's. I'm interested. Very, I saw Rise just last night, and I was, hey, it was good. So, I don't understand how. I wonder if they're going to explain what happened to James Franco's character, because apparently he's not in.
He died.
Dawn.
He died. Well, that's the explanation.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did you see the movie?
No. Just the director or screenwriter, someone said in an interview, just like 98% of the board's population is eradicated. Assume James Franco's with it. Yeah. Man, this has been a really scattered episode. We end with some Planet of the Apes spoilers.
And then, we got other stuff coming up.
Yes, I got a preview coming.
Yep.
Exciting stuff for Dracula Untold. But that's in a while, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems to me that everybody wants to listen to you talk about trailers,
What?
It's a reference. Anyway, that was CinemaTalk.
Yes, let's end it before it gets even more rambly and unfocused.
Yeah. Until next time, guys, I'm Max.
And I'm John.
Thanks for listening. Endure through the heat, and we'll catch you later.
Yes, we will. Don't do it, Max. Oh, you didn't do it. Okay, we're done.
See you.
Hey, Joe.